Now that we have learned the Pythagorean theorem, we are ready to apply it, which is just another way of saying we're going to do word problems with the Pythagorean theorem. So if we're using the Pythagorean theorem, everything we're going to do is going to involve a right triangle, which means you are going to need to draw a right triangle and label it for every problem. So I have two bikers that bike 6 miles north and 8 miles west. How far are they from their starting point? Well, what on earth does this have to do with a right triangle? Well, let's see. So here's my bikers, and they're going to go 6 miles north, and we're just going to say north is up. So they go 6 miles north, then they go 8 miles west, so we will go to the left. They go 8 miles west, and we want to know how far are they from their starting point. Well, what we mean is this straight line distance. My dad would say as the crow flies, right? A crow is not going to go up and over to get somewhere. He's going to go straight from this point to this point. Now, when you do this, especially when we're working with directions like this, that should be a right angle. You have formed a right triangle, and in this case, we're solving for the hypotenuse. Okay, so I want you to do the Pythagorean theorem, show your work, and tell me how far the bikers are from their starting point. Did you get 10 miles? We were solving for the hypotenuse, so we set up 6 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. When we solve that, we get c is 10, and our units are miles. So for every problem, you need your drawing. It's going to be a right triangle, label it correctly, and show your work. The next type of problem will be something along these lines. A computer monitor is advertised as 26 inches. That is the length of the diagonal. If the width of the monitor is 24 inches, what is the height? Okay, so a computer monitor is shaped like what? It's shaped like a rectangle, right? And computer monitors or rectangles or any of that, they have diagonals. The diagonal goes from corner to corner, and that's how they're measured. If you buy a 26-inch TV, that is along the diagonal. Same thing with computer monitors. So here they tell us that the diagonal is 26. The width of the monitor is 24 inches. So this part right here is 24 inches, and we want to know the height. So we're trying to find that length right there. Now, do you see the right triangle? A rectangle has right angles, right? So that diagonal actually forms two congruent right triangles. You can use the Pythagorean theorem and solve for x. For this problem, we were given the hypotenuse and a leg. We're solving for the other leg. So I set up the equation x squared plus 24 squared equals 26 squared. And when I solved, x was 10 inches. Picture, labeled, work. Every problem. The last type of problem we're going to deal with is like this. A 25-foot ladder is leaning against a house. The top of the ladder is 24 feet up the wall. How far is the base of the ladder from the house? So we need to read carefully and make sure we get the labels in the right place. We will tend to miss this one because we put the numbers in the wrong spot. So let's say, and I am not an artist, okay? Here's my house, and I have a ladder leaning against a house. What is that going to look like? Well, a ladder leaning against a house is going to look something like that, right? And they tell me that this ladder is 25 feet long. So the ladder is leaning against the house. It says the top of the ladder, so here's the top of the ladder, it's 24 feet up the wall. So here's the wall. So this is 24. And we want to know how far is the base of the ladder, that's the base at the bottom, from the house. So we are trying to find this distance right here. Do you see your right triangle? Okay, now decide what part you know, decide what part you're solving for, and tell me what you get for x. So in this problem, the ladder is the hypotenuse. It's across from the right angle. We're trying to find one of the legs. I set up x squared plus 24 squared equals 25 squared. And when I solved, x was 7, and my units are feet. Diagram that is labeled and the work for every problem.